So for him to be aware of the crimes that were committed and the numbers of people that lost their lives to pave way for him to come in, and the numbers of people that are still losing their lives today as a result of his actions or inactions. You would have thought that in his 8 years, he would have done everything possible in order to clean out these criminal enterprises. Three times, the southern leaders had the opportunity to change the course, to change the trajectory of where Nigeria was heading. Three good times, southern leaders, particularly from the West. And I'll take you through these three leaders that I'm talking about. Let's forget about when the military took over in 1966. Let's move it a couple of years to 1999. So between 1999 and now, 2024, we have had 25 years of democracy. And this democracy has in no way helped or benefited Nigerians. Democracy is meant to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. But unfortunately, the democracy we have had in the last 25 years have been by the leaders, for the leaders, and of the leaders. So unfortunately, Nigerian citizens have not enjoyed whatsoever dividends of democracy. And I'll tell you the reason why this is not so. So in 1999, before 1999, we had so many issues. The transition we would have had that would have worked for us would have been the 1993 election of Kashimawo Abiola, between him and Tofa, the one that Babangida annulled. And after annulling that 1993 election, which was presumed to be free and fair, probably one of the best elections that has happened in Nigeria for a very, very long time, or since that 1999. So, Babangida decided to annul that election. Abiola was about 63-65% ahead of Bashir Tofa. And I keep asking myself, if Bashir Tofa of the North is the one that was leading with that 63%, would Babangida have annulled that election? That is something that will remain to be known. Only Babangida himself will be able to tell us if that would have been the case. And after annulling that election, unfortunately, it became one of the biggest mistakes that Babangida would ever made. Babangida was between pillar and post, and it became so hot that at the end of the day, he had no choice but to relinquish that power and bring in an interim government of Alex Shonekan. And that was the first Southerner that had the opportunity to fix Nigeria, had the opportunity to set the record straight. What do I mean by setting the record straight? So, Abiola was leading in that election, and it was very, very obvious that Abiola is going to win that election, hands down. And Alex Shonekan is aware of this. And when Babangida handed him that interim government and he became the president of Nigeria, commander-in-chief of the Federal Armed Forces of Nigeria, any president, anybody with this that becomes the president of Nigeria has this power to do and undo. And at that time, in my opinion, Alex Shonekan had the opportunity, first thing first, retire these military majors, these military officials, retire them, and then do what? Probably just say this is not the right thing to happen. Abiola won this election, and you will need to either relook or recheck or see what happened, or just simply announce Abiola as the winner of that election. That can actually happen. Or ask the whole election to be taken all over again. But Alex Shonikon never did that. Greediness for power, like I always said. And he let it go. 3 months later, Abacha came through the window and tell him to get off the seats. So this is one opportunity that was lost for us to do the right thing, because the transition from military to democratic in 1993 would have probably set Nigeria on the right course. But Babangida destroyed that, and Alex Shonikon had the opportunity to fix it, but he never did. And then that moved on. Eventually, Abiola was jailed because he came out and announced himself or pronounced himself as the winner of that election, and he was put in jail, eventually allegedly killed. And what happens after that? The pressure from the South became so much that the Northerners, or those in power at that time, had no choice but to try and appease the South. And in appeasing the South, we are talking about appeasing the Southwest. So they had no choice but to cook somebody up from the Southwest and make that person the president of Nigeria in order to douse the tension. And at this time, Olusegun Obasanjo was in prison for treason. He was put in prison by Abacha. And after Abacha died in 1998, Abdulsalami became the head of state. And between the time that Abdulsalami came in 1998, in that short period of time, so much have gone on. The understanding of how Nigeria works and how Nigerian resources can be used in order to benefit a certain part of the country. This is my opinion. And a constitution within this short period of time was cooked. And looking back and forth, these people at that time could not find anybody that can actually do the dirty work. And the one person that they believed had been in the system and can do the dirty job and is in a situation where if anything is dropped on his laps, he will accept it without complaint. And that was to go and bring Olusegun Obasanjo out of prison and make sure that this 1999 constitution that was put together by Abdulsalami and some few people in order to benefit a certain part of the country must be the documents that the whole country will have to abide by. Everything, he came out of prison, he was flown to here and there in presidential jet, all the things that they need to do, they did it to make sure that Olusegun Obasanjo abide and stick to that 1999 constitution. But after becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to favor this same group of people who already have the picture of how to destroy Nigeria in that document, Olusegun Obasanjo was out. He became the president. He became the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. What Shonekan did not do, Obasanjo did it immediately. He retired all the big shots in the army, and that gave him the opportunity to actually rule for all those 8 years without no interruption. In 1999, Obasanjo knew all the lies that were cooked while he was in prison. He had always been with the system for many years, so he knew all what was happening. And when they came to him and said, we want you to become the president, and this and this and this is what you have to abide by, which 1999 constitution was the top or is at the top of the list. I'm not saying he shouldn't have accepted that offer, because someone that was charged with treason and is about to become the president of Nigeria will take any offer. But you would have thought that integrity should prevail over hunger for power. And even when he got to power, Obasanjo still had the ability, or he had the opportunity to now say, listen, the way I've come to this table is not right. And the 1999 constitution did not represent the aspiration of all Nigerians. As a result of this, we are going to have a round table sit down, and we are going to invite all Nigerians, and we are going to do what? Write a brand new constitution that will represent all Nigerians. And from there, he can then kick off with his leadership. And today, we probably will not be where we are. In 2007, when Obasanjo was about to leave, he did everything possible to bring Yaradua. The same faulty foundation in 1999 was what brought Umaru Yaradua into power. But as soon as Umaru Yaradua got into power, he let Nigerians know that the election that brought him to power was flawed. And only a honest person will come out and admit that the election that brought him to power was flawed. And Yaradua made so many reforms in order to make sure that what happened with him does not happen going forward. Yaradua, coming from the north, will be the last person that will tamper with the constitution. That was why I said I'm talking about Southerners that had the opportunity to change the course of Nigeria, the trajectory of Nigeria, but decided not to do it. So that was Obasanjo. And then when Yaradua died, and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan became the president of Nigeria, he also had the opportunity, because all these people knew the problem of Nigeria and why we are in that problem. So Jonathan also had the opportunity, as soon as he walked into government, to do the right thing, pull out that constitution, and let Nigeria sit on a round table, and let's decide the way forward. But the same power greed, Jonathan sat on that for 4 years and was expecting to win the next election before he can actually do things. He started it, but unfortunately, that was what he should have concentrated on finishing, in bringing the whole Nigeria on a round table, deciding how they want to move forward. Unfortunately, Jonathan lost that election of 2015, and Buhari came in. And Buhari, all the 2014 confab that was done by Jonathan, Buhari took everything, left them in the locker, covered in dust for the whole 8 years that Buhari spent. So those are the three Southerners that had the opportunity. They knew what the problems were. They had the opportunity to have Nigeria sit down on a round table and let's discuss how we move forward. But they never did. Today we have Tinubu. Tinubu wants to be the president of Nigeria. What happens to Nigeria is not what I think, but that's Tinubu. And he had already become Nigeria's president. And we can all see where we are heading to. So many things that he should have done that he did not right from the time he came in. He did so many wrong things, made so many wrong decisions that today is affecting Nigerians. All these people, all these leaders, our democratic years from 1999 to now, 25 years. And the question we need to be asking ourselves is that what have we benefited in these democratic years of governance in Nigeria? And it's very simple. We will go another 50 years and we would not have achieved anything for as long as we continue to have all these charlatans that they call themselves leaders in power. We will never benefit anything. You see, one thing I want you to understand is that Nigeria has always been or built on lies. And even if, as I speak to you today, Nigeria is still on that same lie. And until we have a courageous leader who will come and decide that integrity, and put his life on the line for the Nigerian cause before we can move forward in Nigeria. Look at what is happening. Every time we are going to have a new leadership, there must be a sacrifice that must be made.